से बाहर निकाल दिया जाएगा।
Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Perhaps as many as 4,000 Aam Aadmi Party supporters and members turned out for Prashant, Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav's Swaraj Samwad meeting in Gurgaon today. At the same time, the Arvind Kejriwal camp has promised strict disciplinary action against Aam Aadmi Party members who attended the meeting. So is the party that rules Delhi and was once the great hope for India's political future tearing itself apart? Or is it in the process of resurrection? My guests are the former editor of The Hindu, Siddharth Vardarajan, the well-known activist and politician Kiran Bedi, a supporter of Yadav and Bhushan, Anand Kumar, and Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, Ashutosh. Kiran Bedi, the Aam Aadmi Party represented something unique in Indian politics, a hope for moral regeneration that would change the character of both India's democracy as well as public service. Now that the party seems to be tearing itself apart, is that dream finished forever, or do you think Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan can resurrect it? Mrs. Bedi?
Not easy to resurrect for Prashant and Yogendra. I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Carry on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please carry on. No, I don't think...
Okay, I don't think so. Because you must understand, let's understand the genesis of the AAP. The AAP was built on the entire movement, and that was years and years of work, and by a lot of people, far too many people spent a lot of energy in creating the India Against Corruption movement, and AAP was built on that. And India Against Corruption was thousands of people across the country, where Anna and all of us went town to town, city to city, asking for anti-corruption movement, asking for a Lokpal. And that is what is, and suddenly the entire India Against Corruption movement became actually the foundation of that political party. Now if Prashant and Yogendra have to start a new party, where is it that those 3 years plus of intensive movement by so many activists? There were so many activists which went behind the India Against Corruption movement. And AAP was built exactly on that.
You know, Siddharth Vardarajan,
it's not easy.
Before I come to the problem that Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan faces, you've heard Kiran Bedi spell it out, there may be an even more fundamental problem. Was the dream that the Aam Aadmi Party, in a sense, embodied of regenerating India's politics actually just an ideal and an illusion and something that could never be realized? And is that why, when Arvind Kejriwal decided to start winning elections, political compromises had to be made and they've diluted that dream? So was it an unrealizable ideal?
I don't think so. I don't think the ideal that the Aam Aadmi Party stood for and says it still stands for is unrealizable or utopian. I think the task of cleansing Indian politics of all kinds of horrible practices that have crept in over the years, the role of money and crime, and is a laudable one, and it's something that everybody should aspire to. It's a great pity that at the end of the day, the Aam Aadmi Party has fallen victim. You know, it emerged, as Kiran Bedi ji said, it emerged out of India Against Corruption, or more broadly speaking, out of one of the many social movements that this country has seen on different topics and themes. And it's unfortunate that having arisen from a social movement, it's fallen victim to some of the worst qualities that all of our social movements suffer from, which is excessive role of the individual personality. And I think here the fact that Prashant Bhushan, Arvind Kejriwal, Yogendra Yadav found it unable to sink their individual differences. To the best of my knowledge, I can't see any great ideo-political differences between these three gentlemen. The fact that they couldn't resolve their personal differences and had finally gone their own way I think, it's I suppose speaks to the origins of the Aam Aadmi Party, and one hopes that the Aam Aadmi Party, or what remains of it, is able to transcend this. I'm not sure that the setting up of a new party, which is the agenda that Yogendra, Yadav and Prashant seem to have set for themselves, is necessarily a very sensible way to go forward.
Professor Anand Kumar, let me come back to that key issue and formulate it a little differently and put it to you as a question. The problem with the dream that the Aam Aadmi Party originally embodied of changing the character and morally regenerating Indian politics is that it sharply conflicts with the brutal reality of Indian politics. And you can only change the character of politics if you have a stake in the system, and that means you have to win seats and win power. But to win those seats and power, you have to make the sort of compromises that Arvind did and which Prashant and Yogendra objected to. Are you not faced, therefore, with a terrible dilemma? You can't change politics without becoming participants, and to become participants, you've already diluted the dream.
Well, Karanji, this was a warning given to us by Anna Hazare ji also. The imperatives of electoral success have drastically changed since the times of 60s and 70s, when you had victory of Charan Singh's and Karpuri Thakur and Jyoti Basu and the rest of it, without taking help from black money, from criminals, from dabangs. You could walk straight into assembly and parliament with people's mandate on the basis of your mobilization,
But
your
that
connectivity
was several
with people's
decades
causes.
ago. That was several decades
That's right.
ago.
So in last 30 years, very true. So in last 30 years, things have changed because our economy has changed, our politics had to change.
Precisely. So
We have
answer my
corporates
question.
playing-
Are you now today faced with a terrible dilemma that to become participants in politics, you have to make compromises? The second you do, you dilute your dream.
Well, you have to be a Gandhian for that because, you have to be pragmatic idealist. There is no denying that idealism is going to be the only USP for you. Otherwise, they are highly pragmatic parties, far superior than Aam Aadmi Party by all
right,
standards.
I take your
So
point.
if you got to be there in the game, you have to be pragmatically idealist.
Gandhi was a unique politician. You can't replicate him so easily almost 70 years after his death. Ashutosh, let me twist it and put it to you like this. I know you don't accept that Arvind has had to make compromises with the original dream to win power in Delhi, but practically everyone else does. And that halo that he had, he's lost, but he's acquired power as compensation. He's made that Faustian trade-off. He's now chief minister with 67 out of 70 seats, but that saintly halo is gone.
Karan, I frankly admit that this crisis has certainly dented the image of Aam Aadmi Party, and it will take some time for us to get back to our old halo, our old image which we carried. This is unfortunate, but the fact is it has happened, and it has happened today also. But let me also tell you one thing very frankly, that Aam Aadmi Party has rewritten the politics of this country, and it has proved not once but twice that clean politics, affordable politics, transparent politics is still possible. So the march of idealism is still on.
But
don't
just a
forget,
moment, just a
the
moment.
march of fascism was stopped.
Your breakaway faction questions the cleanliness of your politics, the transparency of your politics, the nature of the candidates you're choosing. So you say you've established clean politics is possible. Bhushan and Yadav are questioning just that claim.
Karan, don't forget that Delhi has given us massive mandate, not because Aam Aadmi Party was behaving like any other political party. There had been enough political parties in this country and in Delhi, but Aam Aadmi Party was given 54% of votes by the Delhi. It proves the fact that they perceive and they have perceived and they still perceive that Aam Aadmi Party is a different party. It is for the alternate politics. And don't forget that the politics where Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, the march of fascism could not be stopped by the Congress and other political parties. It was our politics, it was a clean politics, it was alternate politics which could stop Narendra Modi's and march of fascism in Delhi. And that is a great victory for the politics of idealism.
Mrs. Bedi, the key point there made by Ashutosh is the question of how Aam Aadmi, he claims, is perceived. I want to ask you about that. You see, Aam Aadmi didn't just represent a dream and a hope. it was more importantly recognized by everyone as being different and special. Has that recognition now been shattered? Is the party now perceived as the same as any other, and can that altered perception be reversed? Do you believe that they've lost that perception completely? Mrs. Bedi, did you hear me?
The current dented substantially and dented from the insiders themselves. Yes, I can. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can. Please carry on.
I think it's been dented considerably from insiders themselves. So you and I are outsiders, but the insiders themselves are disclosing the basis of their walking away. So I think we don't need to go beyond. You have insiders who are making the evidence available. Secondly, more than ever, it has got exposed on the basis of which AAP got into all the 67 out of 70. I think, there was a lot of ambush voting, far too many vote banks which I'm personally aware of. I'm witness to that. Vote banks, ambush voting. 2, far very exaggerated promises which suited the voter of a particular kind. 3, they made statements beyond affordability, and there was nobody to question where are the resources coming from, and that is why you find them seeking money after money, putting the ball in another's court. And finally, there's a very vested interest which doesn't really want rule of law. It doesn't want rule of law. It wants rules of compromises. So I think it's on the basis, it's become very evident on which basis did they get 67 out of 70. It was these following 4 factors.
All right.
Besides, of course, the insiders giving you information.
Sir Rajan, let's look down the road a little to ask the question, how will Aam Aadmi Party be, and more importantly, how will it be perceived down the road? Arvind Kejriwal probably views Bhushan and Yadav not just as a personal challenge, but more importantly as a possible political challenge. Does that mean that he will have to strategize to not just marginalize them, but effectively politically eliminate them? And will that further dent the dream and the halo as well as the perception of it?
The way I see it, Arvind Kejriwal has a choice. He can decide that he wants to fight Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan to the very end, which is to say that you take harsh action against all Aam Aadmi Party members who may have attended today's function, take disciplinary action against them, kick them out of the party, and if Yogendra Yadav and Prashant create a party, a political party, then you do everything possible to defeat and sabotage them. That's one route that Kejriwal could take. I personally hope he doesn't take that route, because that road is the road of ruin and destruction for the Aam Aadmi Party itself. The fact of the matter is that the Aam Aadmi Party has a very diverse membership, a large percentage of which has serious doubts about what's happened in the party over the past month. This is not to say that the backing for Arvind Kejriwal compared to Yogendra Yadav or Prashant is not unequivocal. I think the vast majority back Arvind Kejriwal. But I think a large percentage of them see a certain logic in the arguments that Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan have been making about the nature of the party, about the nature of internal processes, about wider questions of politics and social movements. So I think that Mr. Kejriwal needs to find a way to resolve this problem. I think it's too late to have a patch-up, but I think he needs to keep in mind that an important constituency of his party sees merit in the arguments of Yogendra Yadav and to that extent, he needs to pay heed to that.
Let me put that to Ashutosh before I go to Anand Kumar. Ashutosh, this is a very difficult situation for Arvind to handle, because technically he has the most to lose. The sheen and the shine are already damaged. You are good enough to accept that. If he's hard and harsh in his handling of Yogendra Yadav and Prashant, he could end up splitting his party and destroying its image completely. On the other hand, if he isn't, he has to live with two people who have found ways of opposing him and challenging him to his dislike for a long period. Has he got that touch to be able to both win over his enemies or opponents and yet not harm and hurt them?
Karan, I think Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal has gone beyond its limits to accommodate Mr. Prashant, Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav. And I personally had gone on the 16th of March and met Yogendra Yadav and discussed. We had many meetings with them. And when everything was sorted out and everything was agreed upon by both the factions, even they had gone back at the last minute. So I think every political party and every organization works on the minimum discipline. And if you don't adhere to that minimum discipline, which is called as a
So you're saying you're going to sack these gentlemen?
If you don't follow that.
So you're going to sack these gentlemen and precipitate a bigger problem?
No. Well, the minimum discipline has to be enforced in the party if party has to run as a cohesive, robust unit in future. And if a party has to produce a model of alternate politics, it cannot run on chaos and anarchy.
So then in fact you're saying to me clearly that this is the end of the road in Aam Aadmi for Bhushan and Yadav. They will now be removed from the party, they will be expelled.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying party still has to sit down and discuss and to reach to a conclusion.
All right. Anand Kumar, let me put to you a different sort of dilemma you face. Arvind undoubtedly has a magnetic personality, a terrific ability to speak and attract people and to attract loyalty. And that's what, in a sense, propelled the movement that Aam Aadmi Party was into a very effective political party. Unfortunately, I don't think Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan have those qualities. So can they create a new party, which sometimes they suggest they're thinking of, they're not committed to, but thinking of, when they don't have that essential magnetic appeal? Because that's the challenge you face if you end up breaking with the main wing of the party.
Well, the Aam Aadmi Party was born out of the quest for ethical politics, morality in politics, truth in politics. And that created the charisma. First it was with Annaji, before Aam Aadmi Party was born. And then we cultivated this charisma around Arvind Kejriwal. This magnetic force is not inherent. He was not born with it.
You mean you can create the same
As a
force?
student of sociology, I have to tell.
You're saying you can create the same magnetism around Bhushan and Yadav?
No, people are tired of this kind of charismatic politics. It should be institutional politics, and it should be politics by the constitution of the party, not by the personality.
And you think that can win? And you think
I have been removed from the national executive 14 days ago, and I have not received either a show cause notice or a charge sheet.
Can I come back to this issue? Can I come back to this issue? Are you saying to me that in fact a party based on the sort of institutional politics shorn of the magnetism of a leader like Arvind can be a successful party, win seats and come to power? You believe that? You don't think the charisma of the leader is an important factor?
Is a limited factor unless it is in harmony with the social base and the times, unless it gives right priorities to people's issues. You had charisma of N.T. Rama Rao. You had charisma of M.G. Ramchandran. You had charisma of Jayalalitha. You had charisma of Mamata Banerjee. Dime a dozen charismatic leaders in political democracy are dimes a dozen. They are not permanent, they are situational.
I've never seen a party succeed without a charismatic leader and face at the head of it. You're talking of a committee of intelligent academics and lawyers without that appeal, but extreme sincerity and niceness, somehow winning votes and winning seats. It seems unlikely, isn't it? Won't you accept that? You don't want to answer my question?
You have to have some consistency in your promises, in your preaching, in your performance. Sooner or later, if the cat is out of the bag, then the inconsistencies are not taken very kindly by the people.
All right.
It starts at the top.
All right.
People like you, the opinion makers, first take notice of it. then it goes to the bottom of the people's heart and mind, as it happened with Indira Gandhi during the emergency.
All right, Professor Kumar, we're going to have to leave it there. This is a moment when, in fact, many people in India will say to themselves, the party that represented hope for the future, for many a dream, is sadly destroying itself. Whether Prashant, Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav can resurrect that dream is a big question mark. But the dream for the moment is slowly and steadily fading away. My thanks to my four guests for joining me. And there we end this particular episode. You have been. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.
ऊपर से एक आदमी आदेश देगा कि जिसने भी आवाज उठाई उसको पार्टी से बाहर निकाल दिया जाएगा।
Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Perhaps as many as 4,000 Aam Aadmi Party supporters and members turned out for Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav's Swaraj Samwad meeting in Gurgaon today. At the same time, the Arvind Kejriwal camp has promised strict disciplinary action against Aam Aadmi Party members who attended the meeting. So is the party that rules Delhi and was once the great hope for India's political future tearing itself apart? Or is it in the process of resurrection? My guests are the former editor of The Hindu, Siddharth Vardarajan, the well-known activist and politician Kiran Bedi, a supporter of Yadav and Bhushan, Anand Kumar, and Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, Ashutosh. Kiran Bedi, the Aam Aadmi Party represented something unique in Indian politics.
Town to town, city to city, asking for anti-corruption movement, asking for a Lokpal. And that is what is, and suddenly the entire India Against Corruption movement became actually the foundation of that political party. Now, if Prashant and Yogendra have to start a new party, where is it that those 3 years plus of intensive movement by so many activists? There were so many activists which went behind the India Against Corruption movement. And AAP was built exactly on that.
You know, Siddharth Vardarajan,
it's not easy.
Before I come to the hope for moral regeneration that would change the character of both India's democracy as well as public service. Now that the party seems to be tearing itself apart, is that dream finished forever, or do you think Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan can resurrect it? Mrs. Bedi?
Not easy to resurrect for Prashant and Yogendra. I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Carry on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please carry on. No, I don't think...
Okay, I don't think so. Because you must understand, let's understand the genesis of the AAP. The AAP was built on the entire movement, and that was years and years of work, and by a lot of people, far too many people spent a lot of energy in creating the India Against Corruption movement, and AAP was built on that. And India Against Corruption was thousands of people across the country, where Anna and all of us went